Oh, and we're live, and we will go. In fact, wait a minute. I'll stop the share screen. Hannah's wearing a Dreamcatcher necklace. Is that what it is?
Yay! Yes. My Dreamcatcher.
So okay, that ticks that NF box. So let's see any other NF boxes that you tick. Do you have crystals?
No.
You lose.
I did some kind of standard. This was in sale. I admit this was in sale in some really normal clothes store, but I thought it was so funky that I can wear it.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And now we're going to do some Hanna.
Oh God.
What were you thinking wearing this?
I don't know. I think I hadn't met my stylist yet because the sleeves and collar are clearly too large for my frame.
Look at the wig on. Look at the wig on this guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty awesome.
And then you got Tiger Man here. This is from Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
Right, let's see what else we have. You might have watched that in the 80s. I don't know.
I don't remember. I might have, but I don't remember having watched it.
It was just that's Gary Coleman. It was a grown man who had a condition that made him look like a kid.
Oh, wow.
So he would have talked like, these transgalactic phone calls add up. Right, in the American version of Bollocks Up, he put Bolix up. We are digressing, but if we go to, again, Hannah's lookalike, Pamela Helmsley.
Yeah, I need to try that hairstyle. Very 70s. Yeah.
Yep. Hangover, because this season was about 79 to 80. Yeah, so there we go. Sleeves, crazy sleeves. What have you got up your sleeves there, Hanna?
I'm not telling you, of course. I'm not telling you.
I like some good lines in Buck Rogers. Great costume, Tiger Man. You going trick or treating?
Oh wow.
And then massive collar.
Yeah.
And side by side.
But I think those shoulder pads are really quite spectacular.
Oh, you like them?
But I admit I'm very flattered. I'm very flattered that you thought of me when you saw her.
No.
Very beautiful. Yeah.
Pretty good actress as well. Let's have anything else. Oh, there's a little picture in here of someone that I won't. Oh dear. I can't show that. Although Jeff's not in here, but people who watch in, SP Spaz.
Yeah. So that looks like.
Right, so we can stop that.
I'm clearly this is your NE going a bit wild, and you're seeing these patterns. I think it's. Yeah, but I do the same. Yeah. I admit I do the same. Yeah. I like it. Yeah, it's fun.
Let's see what's going on here with the. Okay, so Karina won't be joining us. That's okay. She's got young children. These things are understandable. Right, so now we will go through the Reinin dichotomies.
Yeah.
Now, just for people who've not seen this before, when I speak to,
can you make it a bit? Can it make it a bit bigger, or does it?
Let's see if I can. A little bit more. Okay, let's see what happens. It sort of cuts off the options in the side there. That's about as much as I can.
Okay.
Or does it need to be?
Not for me, but I was thinking for. I'm fine because I'm watching my pad at the same time, so I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, 720p version, people. 720p. If you use that version on YouTube, plus we'll read them out as well. Oh yeah, so the reason I call them the Reinin traits rather than the Reinin traits, two reasons. The Russians call him Reinin, and the man himself spells his name on Facebook Reinin. So he doesn't actually spell it Rei. So okay. So in this test, we pick 3 or 4, the ones that you are absolutely super duper sure about.
Okay.
So here's one. So I'll give you one as a suggestion. Logical versus ethical. Oh, have you frozen? Let's have a look. Oh, she may have frozen. Okay, well, I'll read it through then until she comes back. Better perceive real objects and their relations, general principles and trends. Sees the world through the prism of rules and logical connections. Ethical. Better perceives feelings, emotions, and concerns, as well as interpersonal relationships. Right. Right, okay. Okay, well, while we're waiting for Hanna, I will, while she's not seeing this, I'll show people what various types look like on this. So, for instance, right, if Hanna's an INFP, she will have these. So these ones are pretty obvious. I, E, N, and then static, and then static, positive, yeah, positivist, yeah. Bit naive. Declarer, yes, INFPs, yeah. Strategic, okay. Personally, I'm not so sure about constructivism. Rational, irrational. Some might disagree. ESTPs might think that INFPs are irrational. Process-oriented. Now that's the difference with Hanna. She's result-oriented. Far-sighted, reasonable. Yeah. Right. Now let's see what the while we're waiting for her to come back. Let's go to Hamlet. Right. We have her. Okay. That's pretty obvious. Negativist. Asker. Okay. Again, process oriented. Okay, well, let's have a look at the... Because I think she's result oriented. So we've got here Victor Hugo, that's ESFJ. INTP. This is ESTP. Well, she's not that. This is INFJ. This is ENTJ. This is ISFP. Which, interestingly, she has been typed as that. But no, she's not an E-polar. She's... Aldous Huxley, that's ENFP. Gavin is ISTJ. So, what about Huxley? We have a look at Huxley. Could she be Huxley? I don't know. Right, okay, folks, I'm going to do it for me. I'm going to go through the ones that I pick. Right, unselectable traits. So, for me, well, there are those people out there who think I'm an ENTP. Logical, ethical. Well, on the socio, let's have a look. Let's see the inner workings of what's going on here. We've got, here we go. Right. Sorry, my laptop died. Back in a bit. To the second part. Right. Right. What other messages? Okay. Right. Enough of that. Let's go back to sociotype. So those people might think I'm an ENFP as well. Okay, but most people should agree that I am an intuiting type. So this leaves all the sensors just got killed. Right. Static dynamic. Well, Elena would say that my writing and speaking style is static because I always halt what I'm saying to like add a caveat or a side note, something like that. But this definition, I'm not so sure. Asking and declaring. I would think more asking. Oh, you're back. I was just sort of. I was going through my. That's okay. I was going through my own. And I did show this message there. You put that there, and I said, "Oh, okay. She'll be back."
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah. It died. Now.
Okay. So we are. It's more interesting when things go wrong.
Yeah, today has not been, the best of technology day. So let's hope we'll.
Right, okay. So these are the ones that you're absolutely super duper sure about.
Yeah.
How about we'll miss over the introvert extrovert because people can be people can be like in their DCNH they can be an introverted, and especially if someone's an ENTJ, they can be they might think they're an INTJ. Right, so how about logical, ethical?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, we'll go on. Okay, here's one for you. Intuiting, sensing.
That's definitely intuitive. I'm pretty sure of. Yeah.
Right. So with that choice, we have killed off 8 types.
Oh, that feels horrible.
So
I killed Sherlock Holmes.
You killed Sherlock. Let's have a look. Sherlock Holmes. Let's see what. I think he might be. Yeah, because they're paired up in jewels. I think Sherlock Holmes is ESTJ.
Oh.
Yeah. Sherlock Holmes, the jewel of the FINX. So here's a bit of an abstract one. Static dynamic.
Not sure of that one.
In fact, we missed one out, so maybe we can actually discuss these for people. We can actually say what we think of the questions. So this introvert extrovert one, do you think that it's a little bit mixed up with intuiting and sensing?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So lots of introverted sensing types might pick extrovert.
Yeah, and I don't think many ENFPs or ENTPs, especially ENFPs, would choose extrovert based on this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So this sort of backs up what Kersey was saying, that it's like really hard to tell introversion, extroversion. And there's like so many factors that can affect how outgoing someone is. Upbringing, bad experiences, if someone's insecure about their physical appearance, or little things, or if they've been bullied, just like, just lots of little different things.
Yes.
What we got here? So we could also discuss because this will help people go through the test as well. And we'll be honest about how, because the reputation of the Reinin dichotomies is that some of them are a bit weird, but some of them are are good, and so that's why I like this test where you only pick 4. And but just for the folks, what do you think of this dichotomy, logical, ethical?
Well, I guess it can be very clear cut for some people, but not for me because I do both. So
yeah.
So
and
I don't want to choose.
Do you think you do more logical now than say 15 years ago?
Oh, of course, because I studied philosophy, and in general, I've been in the academic world since 1998. Like I started my university studies, so I'm so used to thinking in a rational or like trying to be objective. Not saying that I succeed in being objective, but anyway, trying to think more objectively. So it's become like a second nature.
Yeah, I think
in some regards.
Yeah, I think Jeff Miller, aka the SP Spouse, very good channel, said he said that David Mark Kersey said, so David West Kersey's son, said that it might actually be easier to type someone when they're younger.
I agree.
But you can have certain situations where someone's type is repressed because of a repressive upbringing. So maybe if we were to take a balance, if we're trying to think of an age where people are sort of outside the influence of their parents but are still young, so maybe about the age of 25 might be a good age to type someone. Right, what we got here? So logical, ethical. Right. So.
No, I have to say that I have to say though that when I was 25, I don't think I would have been. I think the problem with my typing is that I had a bit of a rough teenage years and also early 20s were. I think it's in a way it's better to type me now when I'm kind of working through some difficult stuff that has happened in my past. So I'm kind of dealing with something that feels more authentic to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it really is. For some people, it's better to type them early, and for some people, it's better to type them later.
Yeah.
Because I think if I was typed while I was at university, I might have been typed as INTJ. It's just that INTPs develop their people skills sooner than the INTJ. So they might look quite similar at, say, 18. And so, in Victor's profile, it says about the role function FI that it gradually over time learns how to improve their relationships because they're developing that role function. Okay. This, what do you think of static dynamic? Not just in yourself, but as a dichotomy.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of examples, if it helps to, or people who would be clear in this preference. Yeah, maybe I know some people who kind of refuse to accept that some things change, so they are more or get somehow stuck in some state of their past life, not willing to change a long time. So maybe Maybe it is a bit easier to see if someone is static.
Yeah, I think this should be worded a bit better. I think this is on a Russian website, so it might not be. But I think that this could be, if I were doing this test, like for each of these dichotomies, I would have like a page, and have like lots of different examples of like to clear this up. So for instance, and I also think that static dynamic is something that works a lot better for the judging functions than for the perceiving functions. So for instance, your FI DOMs and your TI DOMs are going to be a bit more static in their ethics and their logic. They're going to be a bit more like, so for instance, INTP might be like stuck with their model, but they're always tinkering and refining their model, so they will be pretty consistent. And INFPs, I mean, that's the thing you can say about INFPs, and they're pretty consistent with their beliefs. It's like, and I would say for FE and TE, I would think that your FE DOMs, your FE program types are, it's dynamic because you've got emotional data coming in from other people. And as the data changes, the way the person feels will change. Because it's all about other people, and other people change. That's dynamic. And the same with TE. TE can easily be confused with SI. So we can say that SI is following procedures and by the books logic. I always say by the books because, like, SJs are not the type of people to just follow one thing. They have, as Jay McKee said, a Rolodex of different techniques of doing things. In fact, we have a slight digression. Does your husband have lots of different ways of doing things? He's not just by one book.
Yeah, well, he can be willing to develop himself in a way, so he can try new things, but he's a lot more, how to say, like cautious and careful what he adopts. So, and he's much slower in his changes than, for instance, I am.
With him, does he agree with the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
In some cases, yes, but he does have some issues that he likes to sort of let him. It's almost like relaxing sometimes that he likes to play. I see it as his weak NE that he sometimes tries with some things. He likes to play with the ideas.
Yeah.
But it's more like relaxing. But of course, in his profession, he's a drummer, so he likes to try different techniques and different genres of music. So,
what Dario noticed about SI types is they can have like surprising abilities, and it's like, whoa, I was not seeing that. And it's like some of them can be like a boring person at work, and then you find out that they're hosting a comedy radio show, and they're just these. And in fact, that was an ISJ type in Dario's book, Neuroscience of Personality. But yeah, getting back to SI is very procedural, by the books, right? And people might think, oh, procedure, that sounds like TE, but TE is more flexible, and it concentrates. TE doesn't concentrate on the procedure; it concentrates on the end result and the productivity.
Yes.
So, if we're talking about a TE DOM being flexible, especially ENTJ versus ESTJ, is as the data changes, they will change. So there's an old joke, there's an old witticism from Blake 7, where someone said, Chris Boucher, script editor, I like him as a writer, it said, the very powerful and the very stupid have one thing in common. They change the facts to suit their opinions rather than change their opinions to suit the facts.
Yeah.
And with the perceiving function, static dynamic, it's a little bit weird, but I'll take my best shot at describing it. NI you can say is dynamic because it sees the change over time, how things are developing. So, and this is the problem. This is where socionics has a problem, in my opinion. They'll talk about, they have SI as dynamic, because if you're defining SI as internal bodily harmony and sensations and stuff, then yeah, that changes. But if you define SI in the Dario-Nardi way as like procedural logic, and even calls them, he and Linda Behrens even call the guardians the stabilizers, and guardians like to do the same thing again and again. So if you were looking at them, you would say, wait a minute, they're static. They're like the most static temperament, the guardians. If something works, they like to stick with it. They find it, they find the familiar comforting. So that dichotomy of static dynamic doesn't really, with SJs you have to look very carefully. So for instance, the way they feel in terms of their, might be dynamic, their internal homeostasis, but the way they operate will be pretty static. And also Dario, did you see, Hanna, the hangout on NI?
I haven't seen this, all of it, but part of it, yeah.
Part of it was Dario was showing the difference between SJ types and NI types, so the NJs, in that there's two parts of the brain. There's a part of the brain behind the right ear that has to do with foreseeing the future. And that part of the brain is active in SI types and NI types. But the difference is the NI type, and another part of the brain next to it is also active, and that does possibilities. So the NI types will see the possibilities and how things will change into the future, whereas the SI types, the guardians, tend to assume that the future is going to be like now. So they will plan for things, and so they might rigidly plan into the future. They assume the future is going to be like now because they don't see the trends and how things are going to change. So in that sense, you could say, hey, they're pretty static. They're not saying how things. So that's why SJs are pretty conventional. They're slow to change. But you know, when things make sense, they change. So, for instance, I think you could say you got that with the civil rights movement in the United States, where Martin Luther King was able to appeal to SJs for two reasons. Yeah. He talked about the Constitution, and the SJs believe in the Constitution, and he also phrased things in biblical terms, and so he was using the rhetorical technique of you believe in this, therefore you should believe in that. So if you believe in all people are created equally, so boom, you go into the Declaration of Independence and you go into biblical doctrine as well, then that follows on. So then you're going to persuade the SJs by going to what they already believe in. So SJs do change. Right. And also, if you compare SJs all around the world, and the way Kersey Sr. Put it is, they reflect their regional norms. It's just whatever is conventional in their part of the world, they represent those values. So so static dynamic is a little bit of a iffy one. Now, someone like now, because you know multiple languages, you might be better at noticing if someone is static in their writing style. And what Elena said about my writing style is that there's lots of mental pauses, And so I will write something, and then I'll like do a little digression and do something in brackets. And then
yeah, I do that too. Yeah.
Get back to the point. And whereas a dynamic type, and I would think in general, the dynamic writing style and talking style is a lot better because you're not halting, going off topic and then coming back, and then having those little pauses. It's like almost you're watching a program and the adverts come on. And then,
yeah,
and then
but I do that. Yeah,
well,
yeah, but if that's defined as static, then I do that too. I'm like that too. I write a lot. I write too much in brackets. That's one of my weak spots.
Yeah, you see, that might just be a thing of again, this is where these dichotomies aren't great. All of them aren't great. Is that you might be? I mean, no, wait a minute. Yeah, INFP is a static type. That's right. So that's a tick in the. So okay. Well, based on that, I think I'll click static because that's what Elena tells me about my. I'll click static on that one. So now we're left with 4 types.
Wow.
And you also, not just that, is static in ethics as well, I would say.
Yeah, mostly, especially with the deepest ones. Yeah, I am. With some, but I would say that with my worldview, like with my more objective worldview, because it's based on scientific research and information, that will change, and I accept. I don't mind.
Okay.
But my values don't change that much.
Interesting. So, but we will stick to the ones we're absolutely sure of. I mean, and if we're short on dichotomies, we'll go back over it. So, what about positive, negative?
No, well, this is a bit tricky because I don't want to choose either. Because I know that if I choose negative, it will represent more some. I don't want to choose it.
Yeah, you don't want to kill off the type that you identify with.
Yeah, might be. And I'm scared that if I choose negative, it's just like I'm sort of affirming some of my depressive tendencies. So I don't want to choose them.
Yeah, and plus another reason to go with the ones that you're absolutely sure about is like just circumstances and upbringing can change whether someone's positive or negative. Here's an I like this one as a dichotomy. Asking, declaring.
Well, I just today I saw old friends of mine, like from high school. We meet maybe three times a year because we live in separate towns. And at the moment when I went there to my friend's place, I started talking all about my recent interests. And I talked and talked, and I can really go into this monologue. And they, of course, they know me from they have known me for almost 25 years. So they take it as, as a very normal behavior for me that I'm not specifically ranting, but I'm sort of very enthusiastically talking about my latest special interest. And this time it was about my genetic, because I haven't seen them since I got my genetic results. So I was talking about those a lot, and then at some point they were really laughing a lot at me about my monologues. So in that sense, I should choose declaring. But I can also be, if I think about this asking, especially if my friend or anyone close to me is having some kind of problems, then I go into this asking mode more. So then I will ask questions, and then I will be more listening.
How about before? How about before you know they have problems?
It depends on my mood, and it depends on how many people are around. If I'm just in a group, I can be more. I can have these monologues, but I also ask questions. But then I can continue my monologues. But if I'm just a one-to-one in a one-to-one situation, then I will ask more questions. Then I'm more concentrated on the other person. So it's quite context dependent, I think.
Right. So how strongly do you think you're a declaring type?
Well, I cannot say that I'm strongly because I do both.
Okay. Okay. We'll leave that for the moment.
Yeah.
So there's still 8 types alive.
Yeah. No, 4. Or what? Or did you?
Oh, we've only selected so far. We've only selected intuiting.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So we didn't take static. Okay. Yeah.
No.
So tactical strategy. I don't know. This is hard also. Okay. Maybe I'm more of a strategic, but I can be tactical. It depends on, again, it depends on the issue. If I'm I can be very impatient. So if I'm in an impatient state, then I want results, or then I want to act fast, and then I'm more prone to this tactical kind of approach. But then on the other hand, if I'm just daydreaming and thinking about options at the more general level, then I'm thinking about using more of the strategic. So
I've written down the ones that you're tentative about.
Yeah.
So I've written down, for the tentative ones, I've put down static, declaring, and strategic. We'll click on those later on and see what happens. What about constructive, emotive?
I think more emotive, but
Are you strong on that one?
No.
Right, okay, I'll put that. Okay, but you do lean towards that one.
I lean towards emotive, yeah.
Okay. Right. Right.
So what does this how do you say it? Dyadic traits? What does it mean? What does it mean? What is the difference between individual and dyadic?
We've got some complicated mathematics going on with the Reinin dichotomies. So I can show people a little bit of what's going on here. I'll just stop the share screen for the moment, and I'll show you how complex the Reinin traits can be. Because Reinin is a mathematician, and I will show people his pyramid. Now, of course, for somebody like Dave Kersey, this is a piece of pie, because he's a mathematician too. But so this here is Reinin's pyramid.
Oh wow!
So the dyadic one. So I think dyad means 2. So maybe traits which depend on another 2 traits. So yeah, it's quite complicated. And so I suppose it forms like a triangle. So for instance, if you know if someone's an extrovert and a whatever, then it gives the other trait. And so that's why when you click one type, it sort of eliminates so many other choices. So just by clicking 3 or 4, it can work out someone's type. So I'll end that, and I'll go back to the so it's a mathematical thing, dyadic traits.
Okay.
Right, let me go because that's how he came up with these dichotomies, is using mathematics, and so that's why some of them are a little bit weird. So for instance, it might be a case of they might be mathematically true, it's just that the dichotomy might not be conceived right from the maths of it. So maybe eventually the dichotomy might be phrased correctly, and then it will, because obviously the mathematics is not going to give the actual phrasing, but it will say somewhere in this area, and then maybe he could phrase it right. I suppose that might be the thing. What about this? Rational, irrational.
Rational.
Are you strong on that one?
Yes.
Right. That's right. Now you've got 4 types left.
Oh.
Well, so you've only made 2 selections, and there's only 4 left. And one of them is ENFJ, and one of them's INFP, one of them's ENTJ, and one of them is INTP.
Well, that's good news, isn't it? Because we've had these types, at least, I've had actually for all 4 of these, like floating around my typing process. So
now this next one, process result, this is a massive dichotomy for Victor, enormous. So, for instance, the result types are like the left spinning types. And the right types, the process types are the right spin, and they have totally different charges because of this dichotomy.
Yeah, but I'm very clear result oriented. Right. So maybe it's killing all the types.
Oh, but you're left with ENTJ and INTP.
Oh, that's interesting. But I know I am result oriented. I am like that.
Right. Okay.
So. What can we do? But yeah, that's interesting.
So, but you see, that could be just an accentuation of NE.
Yeah.
Because anyone who with accentuated NE is going to get bored doing one thing and will want to switch to something else.
Yeah.
Just because they get bored doing one thing. So this is where you get subtypes coming in. So you can have but again.
But this is this is not good news, or is it? No.
Well, what we could do is we could deselect that one because we want to see what happens if we deselect that one.
Okay.
Right, because then you've still got Hamlet and Dostoevsky alive. They're still alive. What about yielding and obstinate?
I don't understand this yielding. Can give a head start to partners. Consider control person. Well, this depends. So I don't want to choose. Well, I'm trying to be. Yeah, I'm trying to be sure.
Okay. How about this one? Here's a good one. Carefree, farsighted.
I would never say that I'm carefree. I mean, seriously.
Right, so let's see what happens for farsighted. I would imagine that Dostoevsky would stay alive. Yes, still alive. So between Dostoevsky and Robespierre. Right. And then, I think this one is good. Reasonable and decisive. Well, it's good for me because it's clear for me.
Is it?
Yeah, for me it is.
Once how to function display without external manipulation. Well, this is. I don't want to choose here because again, I can be influenced by my cultural and environmental background. So. Yeah, I don't want to choose. I might be more reasonable without my background. So.
Right.
But I. So, or maybe I don't.
Okay. The penultimate one, subjective and objective.
I would say objective. Like I said, because I value scientific. Haha! I clicked objective.
Ah, here we go. Ooh!
Yay! This is what I wanted.
Right. So
and I would also and we can check the last one because I think I would like to be
I think this one's badly titled.
Mm.
Because because people will see aristocratic and they'll think, no, I'm not a snob.
Mm.
So
yeah, but if I would like to be democratic. I would like to see people as individuals, but I know that I use this aristocratic. So, I constantly check people. I try to categorize them, not like making any kind of necessarily making value judgments about whether something is good or bad, but I do categorize people. So I would choose aristocratic, but it's okay with Dostoevsky.
Yeah, but you see, I think that again with Dostoevsky is that Dostoevsky is going to do that because FI does that. It categorizes people ethically based on character, and that's something else. Talking about character, that reminded me of Martin Luther King, like when he said like judging someone not by the color of their skin but by the content of their character, and that phrase "content of their character" would like really appeal to SJs. Because they're always talking about people's character.
Oh yeah.
At the time, so Dostoevsky is alive.
Yes, I'm very happy.
But this result one, that could just be accentuated NE.
Oh yeah.
Because any person gets bored easy. They're not going to want to stick to one thing. They're going to here's the battle within me between. So technically, I'm a judger. In Socionics, I'm a judger. But like, so these are the different books I'm supposed to be reading on different days. But I don't stick to the plan. So I make the plan. So I'm a judger in that sense, but I don't execute the plan.
Yeah, that's what I do also.
So that's why I believe that JP questions for introverts don't really work, because you have to be very careful as to what are you asking about. Are you asking about someone's internal organization or their external organization? Now, there's a little bit in Please Understand Me Too that I need to read. He wrote a chapter. He's got a bit in here in the NT section, order and organization. And he talks about the difference between the NTPs and the NTJs.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something in there about so two different kinds of judging: order versus organization. Right. So what do you think of the Reinin dichotomies? Are they great because they got you right?
Oh yeah. But again, another confession. I have taken this 3 times now, and first I got Robespierre. But I think it was because of the result oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first I got Robespierre, and then I got was it Dostoevsky or Hamlet? Yeah. Then I got Hamlet, and then I got Dostoevsky.
Yeah.
So,
Hamlet being ENFJ.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
So Victor might be nodding, going, yes.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to be listening to this. Right, so that is probably it for this hangout.
Yes.
We might do another one afterwards. Depends. So, bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And